After about like the first like 2/3 of practice, I went over and I go, "What do you think of the quarterbacks? Who do you think it's going to be?" He's like, "Man, like that's tough." And I'm like, so when people ask me and they're like, "Oh, it's Julian, right?" I'm like, "I don't know, maybe it's Lincoln." But I always enjoy hearing somebody else's opinion of it who hasn't seen everything, and they get there and they're expecting like, I don't know, some stark contrast. I know Ryan, after watching today, watching all week and everything, like you could hear him talk about this. I referenced it from him earlier this week. Guys need to take steps. It's not just about throwing and passing the football. It's, hey, how good are your fakes? Yeah. How do you command the huddle? Like, we're running play action and you don't have a good fake. Although I don't know who it was today. Someone faked it and Schlegs yelled draw, and then he pulled it back out. And so they got you.
They got me.
They got Schlegs.
They got me. That came in. I was like, but you know what though? Didn't matter for the linebacker. That wasn't his play anyway. So play run first. I don't know. I'm just saying.
But with that, those are all part. Like throwing the football is important, obviously, but that's like half the job. The fakes, the command, leading of the huddle, the pre-snap penalties, making sure everybody's lined up. Guys are on the line of scrimmage. So all that stuff as a quarterback, you own. You're the coach on the field. So those are all elements that go into it. But in talking to my friend, he's like, "Oh, this guy can do that." He goes, "I was impressed." He goes, "Julian is bigger and faster than I thought."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Lincoln looks really good and throws some really good deep balls, and has looked good today." I'm like, exactly. So they both have their moments. It's not that, Lincoln is an invalid or that Julian's an invalid and can't run. No, he's bigger than he was. He's a good athlete. And it's not that Lincoln can't throw. Julian throws a great ball. Lincoln threw some really nice deep balls. He's done it all year. And, it's just the consistency piece. For Julian, there's some consistency pieces and there's some command stuff. But in watching that and understanding, like today, I know Ryan, he's going to look at the box, and him and Hartline and Billy are going to say, check here, minus here, plus here, minus here. And it's just finding that consistency. And I was having a conversation, Schlegs, with one of the guys on the staff, and it's interesting. Like these Lincoln and Julian are diametrically opposite of how they've been raised to play quarterback. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you one or the other's right.
Right.
You have Julian, who is a product, he's from Southern California, 7-on-7s, lots of quarterback technique, lots of reps. His older brother played at Yale or something. Yeah, his older brother played in college, but he's always been curated to be a quarterback, working on throwing mechanics, throwing a lot of footballs, a lot of 7-on-7. The gurus working on this his whole life. And he has that element. Obviously playing football in high school then too, but all of the other tangential things that go, all of the practice. It's almost like, if you've ever read Andre Agassi's book, like the tennis coaching of how they do that, like you are curated to be a tennis player. Like you go to IMG, you work, this is what you're doing. Like this is what Julian's saying. He has been groomed, if you will, to be a quarterback at a big time college program. And he's got all the attributes and traits that you need for that. Contrast Lincoln Kienholz, who grew up in the South Dakota, the central part of the country. I wasn't even sure if he played 11 or 9-man football because we played with Chad Greenway at Iowa. He played 10, 11 years in Minnesota, made a couple of footballs, linebacker, great football player.
9-man football.
He played 9-man football in South Dakota growing up. Like that was part of what he did because there weren't enough players and like people around to play 11. Yep. So he played 9-man. Lincoln did play 11-man, but played football, played basketball, he played baseball. Probably, I'm guessing, started at least since his sophomore year, probably his freshman year in most of those sports, and played all of them all the time. They don't have quarterback gurus. They don't have the 7-on-7 passing camps with all that. And so there's an element of him where like he really hadn't lifted probably a lot because he's playing so many other sports. Yep. So physically he had to develop, but like working on his throwing mechanics. Dude's got a hose, like working on his throwing mechanics, working on seeing the field and like reading college level defenses. Julian probably saw a lot more of that in high school. You're seeing some of these inverted coverages and the disguises and shows. South Carolina, they're probably playing like cover 3, little cover 2, maybe some man coverage, and like
that's it
in South Dakota, and that's what it is. So like these two guys, it's been an interesting, case study of not that one's right or wrong, but Lincoln's been here for 3 years now. He's been in the system. He's developed. He's seen more. Julian obviously came up doing more, and he's only in his second year. But it's been an interesting understanding, Schlegs, if you will, of kind of how these guys develop, maybe where their deficiencies are, where their strengths are, and how Ryan, Billy, and Brian are kind of working through this process.
Yeah. It's interesting you brought up mean, 3 years and then 18 months, right? So he came in January of 24, had that great year. Both of them were able to watch Will and all of those commands and all those things. Both have put on a tremendous amount of size. Both look physically really good based upon where they came in. Lincoln's highly competitive. I mean, when you put your quarterback up against Jeremiah Smith, like, okay, it's a battle. The thing that they're watching, just so you guys know, it's like, okay, this was a drop ball, right? Like, but was that a great throw?
Was it a
Like,
good pass?
should that guy have made that play? Like, there was a couple I saw that were very hard catches, but the ball was there because the coverage was very, very good. And so it wasn't necessarily completion.
For both guys. Like,
it was a great play on both sides with a great ball that ended up in a net zero.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So how do you, when they grade these things and they look for that consistency, you have to give it to the quarterback like you did your job on that play. That would be no different than if I came in and I took the block off of the 3 technique or something on a run play and the ball spilled to somebody else. I did my job. Could I have made the play? No, because I had to do my job to allow the ball to do what it did and somebody else didn't necessarily do it. So you can't give me a minus, right? It's like it's a 0. It's a blank. Okay, so that's how they're evaluating. Like, you did your job. Great ball. Great job. That's how they're evaluating it. And when it's really tight like that, you not only do you got to be fair, but you got to be impartial because people's jobs are on the line. Yeah. Not only the coaches' staff, but it's also the teams. Yeah. There's so much that goes into it. Everybody that's out there listening to this, that you can't pick favorites. You got to let the best person win, because I always told you guys, you can't fake the dudes. And they know, because you're also grading all of this in the room with everybody else.
When everybody else is watching too, like, hey, quarterback, you look, you're like, that's a great ball.
Yeah.
Or, hey, he missed this throw. Like, that was open. Or
why did he try to press?
He missed this read. Like, we're in cover 2 and I didn't carry and this guy was open and we're trying to force it somewhere else. And like,
is that a consistent habit? Like, is he not picking that up? Like,
he doesn't see it.
He doesn't see it.
He didn't see we're blitzing. He had a chance to check out of it, go to this. Like, we showed it too early. Or maybe, man, we hardly showed this at all. And the guy's like, boom, he recognized, saw reading the mail. And now all of us, they call it, reading your mail when they know what you're doing. Like, he was reading the mail and he figured it out that, hey, they're doing this in this situation.
That's a great point, because he's able to process things that we necessarily haven't put in, but he knows the concepts.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and this is why defenses can give you problems. Like, was it the defense today or was it the offense today, right? Or was it the offense today or was it the defense today? Like, who's at fault? Who's doing really well? But when a quarterback, something that you didn't put in, now I'm seeing blitzes, all of a sudden that hot read, it's a different blitz than I've ever seen. That hot went from this guy to this guy. I was able to read it. And I was able to execute and get out of my hands. Regardless of what happened in the play, that's a plus. And that's how they're evaluating this process.
It's tough. It's really hard. Because now, the defense, they've got, I would say 80% of their, 85% of their.
There's a lot in there, man. Because the way we were sitting there with Nate talking shop and Tave, it's like, okay, yeah, I see exactly what they're doing. Oh, now we're tagging this on the backside? Okay, versus what? And then boom, what does the offense do? Set the formation, reload the formation, motion the formation, and our guys are communicating like, all right, that's good to see.
Yeah, it was great to see back there. So like there was some good and some bad. Is there to sit there and say that I would say one guy, if you had to start a guy today, who would it be? I go, I'm walking away from that question.
I'm happy I'm not coaching.
Yeah, you go. You want to make me Ryan Day? Then we'll do that. But I'm not touching that because I don't.
It's still too early.
I've seen enough to know that both of those guys. Here's the good news with all the quarterback stuff. The ceiling for both guys can win you a national championship.
Yeah, for sure.
What is the floor, I think, is what you're really trying to figure out. On their worst play, what does that look like?
Yeah,
is it costing you a game? And kind of where are you at? Does Julian maybe have a higher ceiling relative to Lincoln? But does Lincoln maybe have a higher floor at this point? As you try to figure that out. And like those are the things you're trying to see and understand. Or maybe Lincoln has a higher ceiling. There's just a little more development that needs to happen. Like that's all the stuff that needs to go on. And then also like how good do you feel about your offensive line? Do you need a quarterback that maybe can pull it down and like outrun linebackers? Like Julian can go pick up a first down when it's there. You run 2-man, you see Julian pull it down. So as you said, boom, it's there. He'll go take it and get it. The thing is the Lincoln gives you like he can outrun guys. Like he's legit fast. And I joke with the linebackers about that. Like when he's in there, you better be alert. I was like, I love this call. They're playing some 2-man and like, a third down situation. I was like, I love this call unless the quarterback runs it because then you're in trouble. So understand who's in the game and what that's going to look like.